I don't understand how you could even consider moving in with somebody that you ain't been with longer than 6 weeks. I think you're up royal.
Brian and Amy Slayton sit under the late afternoon sun on their porch. The breeze stirs the screen door, and their conversation about hurt, hope, and healing hums like a current between them. Brian's heart pounds, not with shame or fear, but with the weight of hope. He's about to ask Amy to move in. Amy's weight loss journey has been the season's emotional center. Surgeries, setbacks, fractures, breakthroughs. Brian has stood by her, caregiver, partner, encourager. But cohabitation? That feels different. Brian wrestles with questions. Can their routines align? Will Amy's independence feel compromised? How might family react? What if cohabiting exposes wounds neither is ready to face? Amy, for her part, feels excitement, but cautious. Moving in with Brian is both affirmation and surrender. Affirmation of love, surrender of some autonomy. She wonders, will Amy and move-in still feel like Amy? Day-to-day life is full of rehearsals. They carve routines around work, health check-ins, physical therapy, and self-care. Brian cooks, Amy takes pills. Together they strategize her next goals. They try doing a grocery run side by side. Brian holds the stroller and pries open jars. Amy picks healthy swaps and smaller portions. They test spending an extra night over at each other's place, shifting between households to simulate shared space. They discover things they hadn't counted on, Brian feeling unsettled around Amy's stepkids, Amy worrying about keeping up with bills, chores, independence. Brian calls Amy to the kitchen one night. He has lined up a few candles, paper plates. He's put on their song, a slow country duet. Amy's heart swells with tentative joy. He takes a breath. Amy, I want us to be closer. I want you to move in. Amy's breath catches. She's seen this question coming, but still not ready. Tears well up. Brian, I love you more than high-fructose corn syrup loves my veins, she jokes lightly. He laughs through tears. That is love. But seriously, are you scared? Amy bites her lip. She is. But love uncoils something braver inside. They draw up a list of boundaries. Amy's space, a corner of the spare room, with space for therapy equipment and safe foods. Financial contribution. Amy covers transportation and food. Brian handles rent and utilities. Therapy rituals. They agree each day includes 15 minutes of check-in. How are we feeling physically? Emotionally. Family visits. Amy's family can come, but 24-hour boundaries, and Brian's house requires respect. Drafts of this list go through versions. They argue, cry, compromise. Amy proposes, let me show you how I manage the kitchen. Brian counters, let me cook your favorites, even the things you shouldn't eat, but in controlled servings. They learn each other's vulnerabilities. Amy brings in boxes, gum, walker, journals. Brian carries in a plant. They set up side by side on their beds. Amy's anxiety hums, new room, new routines, but also possibility. Dinner shared, homemade soup. Amy eats a small portion. Brian watches, encouraged. They talk quietly. Amy mentions fears. What if I slip? What if I make you miserable? Brian replies firmly, then I'll hold you. That's what love is. They sleep side by side, Amy curved around her stuffed dragon, Brian rising in the morning to refill her water, and wake with wordless comfort. Week 1 tests them. Amy miscounts doses, wakes early needing insulin. Brian loses a patient at work and comes home heavy. Amy's mom calls needing help. They snap at each other. Exhaustion mounts. Doubts flare. They go for couples therapy with Dr. Ramirez, a safe space. Amy expresses feeling moved in, but still separate, like a test case. Brian reveals fear. What if I let her in and she breaks? They practice apologizing. I'm sorry for snapping. I'm sorry I asked too many questions. Eventually, forgiveness blooms. They reach small victories. 2 weeks in. Amy tells Brian she wants to run again, on the rehab treadmill. Motivation renewed. Brian teaches Amy to bake a guilt-free casserole, and she enjoys each bite without shame. They host a dual family game night. Amy manages lines, roll of potatoes, not fries. Brian holds her hand in support. Amy texts her sister Candy, "It's weird and good." Candy responds, "You're glowing. Just be safe." Brian smiles. Amy nestled next to him, space warmed by affirmation. Amy and Brian sit at the dining table. They talk about next steps, Amy's upcoming plastic surgery consult, whether she should stay in same town or move to Nashville with Brian when her lease is up in 3 months, the dream of adoption, modifiable van, bigger home. Fear again, Amy wrestles with small-town judgment, with moving away from family. Brian fears money, jobs, stability. They weigh pros and cons. Eventually, they dream together. Amy gets approval for surgery. They find a Nashville rehab center. They plan for van. One evening they watch 1,000-Pound Sisters S7E2 recap. Listening to their own voices, projections, tears, they feel seen. Amy leans on Brian. "Do you remember the first time I asked if I could move in, before I even answered?" Brian nods. "I was terrified." Amy smiles. "And now, we're doing it." They close the laptop. Amy rests her head on Brian's shoulder. They are ordinary, but extraordinary in co-living love, food healing, body care, emotional honesty. A year later, Amy has lost more weight, bouncing back from surgery setbacks, but progressing toward her goals. Brian's job has grown, therapy sessions continue, they've bought a van, fitted with Amy's walker and car seat for possible future baby. They live in a modest rental in Nashville, bright, accessible, symbol of new chapter. Amy visits her mom monthly. Brian visits his mom on weekends. They've learned how to love across distance. Amy has advocated for a healthy living support group and jointly hosts online support for people navigating cohabitation during dramatically changing health.